I think if you ask any hunter, what is the #1 hardest animal in all of North America to take with a bow and arrow? Many might say whitetail, elk, mule deer bucks. But for me, a big old mature black bear. He knows every trail. He's patient. He's nocturnal. And when he shows up, it's nothing other than heart pounding.
Western Extreme, brought to you by Bowtech Archery, refuse to follow. Can-Am, the facts say a lot, but the ride says it all.
Well, welcome to Western Extreme. This show has taken over 11 years to shoot. We're going to dedicate an entire television show to black bears. You know, over the course of time, I've been able to hunt with and hang out with a lot of professional hunters. And one of the questions that always comes up at camp, what do you think is the #1 hardest animal in all of North America to pursue with a bow and arrow? A lot of people have a lot of different answers, but for me, probably black-tailed deer, Columbia black-tailed deer, #1, and #2, a black bear, due to the fact that they're nocturnal. And when you have a giant, a real giant, a bear that's over 20 years old, show up in front of you, it's nothing other than breathtaking. Now, the very first time I ever got to hunt a black bear in the state of Washington, it was on the Quinault Indian Reservation. And if you spent time with these people, you would really learn how special the black bears are. They're a very spiritual animal to them. They're in their carvings, they're in their paintings, they're in totem poles up and down the road. Now, I was really lucky to be the very first non-tribal member to be able to hunt a black bear there since 1855. And so you can imagine the giant black bears due to the fact that none of the tribal members actually hunt them. And I met a very special individual named Grover. And he actually took the employment job of becoming the biologist there on the reservation, and we did a lot of very special things.
And what happens is, as the bear goes in the trap to get the bait bucket, they'll step on that platform, push down on the trigger wire. That trips the trigger here, the door slams shut.
This was really special for Western Extreme to be able to capture on camera. I mean, the very first time that a radio transmitter was ever put in a black bear. Imagine that. And so we were able to capture that bear, we tranquilized him, we went ahead and shaved his stomach, and then we put that radio transmitter in it, and then the story to be told, 6 years later, I was able to take that exact black bear 2.8 miles from where we put the transmitter in it. But it told us a lot about the age, the genetics, the home range of the black bears, and that was really the key to it. And what we found is a huge population of black bears all concentrated in one area, and the tribal members were losing over $2 million of tree damage every year due to the black bears. And again, those small sows and those sows teaching their cubs in order to eat that cadmium layer off of the tree and use that as their diet supplement rather than the trees, trying to figure out how we can deal with the population control and teach those bears to look at another food source. They say that the largest bear population in lower 48 may exist right here on the reservation. Over the last 7 years, there's been a study done on the black bears here, and the real reason they opened it up for the tags was damage control on the timber industry and how the black bears were affecting it. But this tree is completely ringed, 360 degrees. This is a dead tree, and within visible distance at 65 yards, there are 7 trees that are completely ringed. Now, there's a high sugar content right underneath this bark. The bear comes in here and he eats that up. He takes his sizer teeth like at the bottom, and he'll cheese grade. He'll just keep working his bottom teeth to grab that off there. The thing is, if this is a young sow, this sow will teach her cubs to prey on these trees as well.
My son, he's a black bear guide too, and when we down a black bear, we always look at their teeth. You know, you could tell if it's been a bark eater and stuff by the coloration of their teeth. So
Anyway, man, onward, but this timber is really valuable and we lost a tree today. One of the questions everybody asks me on Facebook, Jim, what is your favorite animal in all of North America to hunt? And I always say, depending on the time of the year and the tag that I have in my hand. And I love springtime for two reasons. Number one, I get to drive my hot rods when I'm not bear hunting. But back to it, guys. This is my top 4 hunts that I've ever been on hunting black bears. What an unbelievable accomplishment. Not only is this the biggest bear I've taken, this is the biggest black bear I have ever seen in my life. Does not have a mark on him. Look at him. I don't know how we're gonna pack him out of here. He's definitely not going out on my back. Here at Quinault, these monarchs are literally living here in Washington. I've always been excited about hunting black bears. Every year I look forward to going back to those same destinations, regardless whether I'm spotting and stalking them in BC or I'm hunting them out of a tree stand in Alberta, Canada. Over the years have been able to be successful on over 50 black bear hunts with my bow and arrow, and over the years I've learned a lot. And I wasn't even in the tree stand 2.5 hours, and I looked down and I watched through the timber. I grabbed my binoculars, and sure enough, this is a giant, and he's coming around the horseshoe. He's coming in downwind. He's just leaving like bears do, and I grab my bow and I draw on him, and he just gives me the quartering away, perfect broadside shot. Oh my gosh. Look at that, you guys.
Oh yeah.
Come here real quick. Look at this bear, you guys. There's just something about a huge black bear directly in front of you. Now, a lot of people get mistaken between a sow and a boar, but there's some really noticeable differences between the two of them. Number one, you always look at their elbows. If they have any kind of space underneath, their belly line does not match up to their elbows, most likely they're too small. And a big black bear will have his ears completely turned out. And I always look for the big crease in the forehead right here. As he gets older and older, he has big muscle girth on either side, and you know that you're looking at a giant. Now, what's really cool is this next hunt is a special one because I got to invite Mr. Ted Nugent himself.
We found this big bear over a month ago, and Carl's been working this site for the last month, making sure that this bear is in here, that there's very little noise. We really have, because this is a shy bear. We've seen him in here for the last 3 years, and last year he eluded me again, and he's back in this same spot. We're kind of like on a mini island, and there's lakes all around us, a big body of water in these swamps. And so this is a perfect prime location for this bear to show up. Now Nugent, the Nugester, the whack master himself, was in the blind with me last night, and we were giving him an opportunity to be able to take this bear, and we had a great time. But unfortunately the bear didn't show up, so tonight's the night. I know it. He's gonna show up. If we keep to it, I know he'll make a mistake. He'll come in here and we'll get him.
he didn't go anywhere. Pretty much, get a bear up into the teens, he's pretty much rubbed off. This bear is absolutely awesome. I mean, look at him, he's huge. He's got a huge neck all the way through. Look at this hair on this thing. This is almost 2.5 inches to 3 inches long. I mean, it's amazing. Just absolutely in his prime. Big black bears, that's what we're talking about this week. You know, there's a lot of different ways to hunt a black bear. My favorite always is spot and stalk. Now, I've hunted them all the way through Canada and most of my western states, and it doesn't matter where I'm at or how I'm doing it, I absolutely love to shoot black bears with my bow and arrow.
That bear blew out of here. There's got to be a giant behind me somewhere.
1 second, you're completely calm. You look over and you see that big black bear coming underneath the stand. You wonder how he even got there. He was so silent, he was so patient, he was so calm. And then your adrenaline just starts to rise and you're like, oh my gosh, that's the big black bear I've been looking for. Game on. Giant, in place, in my effective range. Do not screw this up. Aim, aim, aim. Aiming is the name of the game when it comes to black bears. One of the most important things about black bear hunting is shot placement. I know it sounds simple, but when you have a big black bear in front of you, it just looks like a big black bob, and being able to pick the right spot is super important. Watch the body language of the black bear. Wait until he's completely calm. A lot of people think that black bears have horrible eyesight. They don't. They're just really paying attention to what's in front of them close most of the time. So when the final moment of truth comes, be able to look for a quartering away shot, shoot for that top of the lower third into the crease, and always shoot for the opposite shoulder, and you'll be able to find a black bear pretty quick. Remember, they're in dense places. They're hard to find. They have a lot of vitamin K in their blood. They cartelize really quickly. They have a huge fat content. And so it's important that you shoot them absolutely perfect. Remember, we're responsible for every single arrow or bullet that we pull the trigger on. Well, Blake and I are together and we're going to show you how to evaluate and measure a good black bear skull. This is a really good one that was taken 22 inches. I mean, that's one of the largest black bears of all time, no doubt about it. And we're talking about almost grizzly bear status rather than black bear status, and obviously you need age. What's really cool about this, when we do a first glance, we're looking at the dentine versus the outside of it. We've got a little bit of wear. We're only talking about a bear that's probably only 10, 11, 12 years old.
Somewhere in that neighborhood, yeah.
And what's really amazing is he grew to this size. So this is it. There's basically two measurements in order to measure a black bear. We're going to go through both of them. The very first one is actually the width, what I like to do first, huh? And there's two ways you can do this. You can do this with a fancy pair of calipers if you're a black bear measurer like Blake.
That's right.
And go ahead and show them, Blake.
The greatest width is going to be up here on the orbital bones in the black bear skull, and it's going to be your total greatest width measurement. That's your first measurement.
And another way to do that really quickly while you're in camp is go ahead and put this against a wall. Go ahead and run a ruler this way and then measure the distance between the two of them if you don't have a set of calipers.
Correct.
And then the second one,
it'll be the greatest length measurement to the front of the teeth to the back of the skull itself. And that'll be your length measurement.
Yep, absolutely. And then you go ahead and add those two together.
Add the two together, and then that's what your bear skull is gonna score.
Absolutely. So here's a little tip and a trick on black bears. Black bears are awful fun, no matter if you're chasing them in the spring or your fall time. But when you see the super giants, even a giant, and then we get into the super giant category, that's what we're all about.
They look like a truck coming in.
A Volkswagen bus. Guys, we're just driving down the highway here, and we've got these big open clearings on either side where the grass has actually grown. And here on the left-hand side of the road, there's lots more bears. But over the last few days, we've seen 30 or 40 bears just feeding. I mean, it's incredible, the bear population. I've never seen anything like it. And so not only do they have a very, very big concession that we can hunt here, but along these highway stretches, bears are showing up everywhere. Guys, this bear right now is under 4 yards. The bear population here is crazy. Look at this. He's coming in the window. Dude, that is a wild bear right there. You guys, you know what? I think the cameraman Dave just pooped his pants. You know, over the years, I've spent a lot of time hunting black bears, and the more time I spend, the more that I just enjoy spending time with them, regardless of whether I'm watching some young cubs with their mom, or whether I'm watching the big boars just coming out of the den when there's still snow on the ground. Over the years, I've had some magical stories. Everything from being able to spend time with a game biologist to pulling those bears out of the den, all the way to being able to shoot a bear and having it go in the den and then having to climb in face first to be able to pull him out. But there's just something magical about it. And one thing you need to know about a black bear, they are truly all about their stomach. Oh, there's some steep canyon walls right there that access the beach right here. I started hunting the Indian reservation 7 years ago. You know, we put radio transmitters in bears, we follow their home range, but here on the Indian reservation, right along the beach, have miles and miles of coastline that is not used. No one walks it, very remote places, just like Alaska. And in Alaska, the very first thing to come green in the spring is the beach. The grass is along there, and the bears just run up and down the coastline looking for something to eat. So I think that these bears do the same thing here on the reservation. So we're on a little scouting mission. We're gonna go up and down the beach line. We're gonna look for food sources. We're gonna see if these bears actually live on this beach and use it as an access food source every single day. This information may not change the way I hunt this week, but this scouting mission might change the way I hunt next year when I come, because I think these big Bruins in these little remote places might be using the beach access. Okay, I'm looking for any kind of vegetation or anything that might have sifted up on the beach that these bears could be eating on a daily basis. Here's a bunch of shells that have come up here on the beach. And now these are razor clams. They're not all over the Pacific Northwest, and there aren't many places in all of Oregon and Washington you can target these, but this beach right here is full of them. In fact, they commercially fish these here on the Indian reservation every single year. But this doesn't look like it has any bear sign on it, so we're gonna keep looking and hopefully find some evidence of those big blacks. Well, not all scouting trips are successful. We didn't find any evidence of bears, but we probably got hundreds of miles of coastline that we can check. So I'm gonna be back again and hopefully be able to find these big bears, because this hunt in here in Washington on the beach would be awesome. Now, I couldn't talk about black bear hunting without what I call the death moan. And when I think about it, every time I hear it, I think about that black bear calling me saying, "Here I am, come take a picture with me to show friends and family. Take my hide and be able to share it at home. And then spend time around the family table sharing in my meat." And it's just really something special. So the next time you're black bear hunting and after you've made that shot, completely still, completely quiet, stop and listen. there, you guys. This is an absolutely roly-poly, beautiful, beautiful black bear right here. He's huge. Look at him. He's just absolutely huge. Look at how thick through he is. He's got a huge neck on him. Just spectacular, just shiny black. I want to encourage all of you, if you've never hunted a black bear, to get out there, regardless of how you're hunting them, and really enjoy the resource, and also helping with the bear population, keeping them in check as a predator, and keeping your deer and elk population up. So, enjoy the resource. Thanks for joining us here on Western Extreme. We'll see you again next week right here, chasing something wild out west, and maybe even have a little biology for you.
Western Extreme, brought to you by Bowtech Archery, refuse to follow. Can-Am, the facts say a lot, but the ride says it all.
Go ahead, Justin.
No, thank you.
Come on, man.
I'm full from breakfast.
Come on, man. If you do it, I'll do it. He has to know what he's dealing with, and I'll do anything to shoot a bear. This is not a milk dud. This separates the men from the boys. If we find grass, berries, alder, and squid, we'll find a bear.